Hello, friends. Welcome to the live stream. And today, in the historic reflection, we will actually study about the airships. And believe it or not, today on March 14th, in the year 1899, the inventor, German inventor Ferdinand Zeppelin, he receives his US patent, and the name of the product which was mentioned in the patent was the navigable balloon. It was a big thing, this is before the invention of the flight, invention of the aeroplane. Navigation of a balloon, that means you can actually take the balloon where you want it to go and you can actually navigate it, was a big deal. And therefore Zeppelin got the patent today, in the year 1899. A good 2 years before the uh, the first flight that took place, the Wright brother flight that took place. So today is a very opportune day for the human flight, because Zeppelin actually got a patent, and Zeppelin became very popular when it comes to the first flying machine which could actually navigate, which could actually you can plan a trip from one city to the other. And therefore it is definitely a very big deal, where when it comes to creating an air flight, which we actually assume today, just buy a ticket, hop on into an aeroplane, and go over to your destination. But taking a pilot requires a skill, that is why there is a pilot training. And pilot cannot navigate something which is not navigable. So before 1899, before the Zeppelin, the air balloon was mostly restricted to flying through the air, and it's completely controlled by the airstream, the flow of the air, or the wind, which wherever it takes it. So Zeppelin made it possible that you can navigate it, you can actually control the airship where you want it to. And this is the name, this is a gentleman who actually created the history, and his product is, as you can see, it's very streamlined. It does not look like a balloon at all, and many of us know about this. uh, However, we don't hear too much, we don't see them today. But believe it or not, the company that Zeppelin formed, the Zeppelin airship company, is now making a comeback, and this is the modern airship that you see. And this is a very gentle, and it does not consume so much of fuel like a typical aeroplane. And for short hops, people are now saying that maybe airship is a more practical solution. Maybe airships which does not require a runway, it does not require too much paraphernalia like an aeroplane, and therefore it can actually take off from anywhere, because it does not require to a runway to basically build the momentum. So these airships are coming back, and that is why I thought I will talk about airships today, and why even today the airships are relevant. So they are not basically used today, simply because in those days the airship was quite hazardous when it comes to basically making it float. And to make it float, you need lighter than air, some sort of material which is lighter than air. And if you remember the balloons, they used to heat up the air, and the hot air is lighter than the cold air, and that is how the balloon used to take to the sky. Whereas when it comes to Zeppelin, you don't want to spend the fuel in just heating up the air. So Zeppelin invented a method by which by using the lighter hydrogen, you could actually take to the sky. So because hydrogen is lighter than air, and if you fill your Zeppelin, your airship, with hydrogen bags, it will then be lighter than the air, and then you can take to the skies. And then you can actually control the amount of hydrogen moment you reach your altitude. And therefore, using this mechanism, Zeppelin invented the airship. at this point, I like to mention that hydrogen is highly inflammable. It is the best fuel that is known in the universe. It ignites very, very rapidly, and then it is very explosive also. It does not ignite slowly, it is explosive. That means a lot of hydrogen, if it catches fire, it will explode. The rate of combustion is very, very high when it comes to hydrogen. So the next best material in those days was helium. But helium is an inert gas, and therefore, like hydrogen can be extracted from variety of sources, helium is generally trapped in the rocks down below the earth, and that technology in the 1900 was available only with the US, and US refused to part with that technology to any other country, and more so to Germany. And Zeppelin was German, and therefore he did not get access to helium, even though he requested for helium from US. But the US government decided not to part with the helium, not to give the technology, and not also to provide the helium to Germany. And therefore Zeppelin basically has to make flight using hydrogen, which is very, very risky. So considering the risk, Zeppelin created different variants, and Zeppelin was being used as a passenger transport. So you could because you can make a very big airship. You can actually provide a lot of comfort, the sleeping compartment, playing cards, billiards, music gallery, all kinds of things were provided in the passenger transport arena by the Zeppelin company in those days. And this was a faster method because ship used to take a lot of time, and the ship was available only in the ocean. So Zeppelin was a very fast method, very comfortable, very classy method to travel, especially and it was not cheap. The ticket used to cost a bomb in those days also. So Zeppelin used hydrogen to afloat his airships and use it for variety of purpose. One of the purpose, as I said, is passenger and also the cargo. So in Zeppelin there was a variant where you can actually carry a huge cargo long distances faster than ships, and you can make these airships pretty large so that they can carry a lot of cargo. The only drawback in those airships was they were made of hydrogen. And looking at the success of these Zeppelins, every country started investing and they started making their own Zeppelin. And however, Zeppelin had captured that market at that time, Zeppelin Airship Company, and they were supplying ready-made airships to whichever country. And because they already had a head-on start, they were able to provide cheaper, better, faster solution to the countries. So when it comes to transport airships, Zeppelin was providing. At the same time, they were also being considered for your defense. So the airships were being planned as a reconnaissance platforms, or also as a heavy bomber platform, because in those days Zeppelins can fly quite high, and there was no way to bring them down because there were no missiles in those days, and therefore they were ideal platform for a bombing raid. So they were actually used during First World War as heavy bombers, and subsequently they were developed in the defense services as well. So I think a variety of uses were already planned when the aeroplane technology was still very new and was being developed. So airship was actually ruling the skies. And finally, that eventuality happened, which we all remember. This was the Zeppelin accident in New Jersey. And within like 30 seconds, the entire Zeppelin burned because the hydrogen on board caught fire. And within like matter of 37 seconds, the entire airship blew because it was filled with hydrogen. And the theory is that the atmospheric spark, which is based on the static current, ignited the hydrogen, and that exploded. And that is really the blow to the Zeppelin, and that is when they were grounded. Because ideally, even Ferdinand Zeppelin knew that hydrogen is very risky material to use, and he had to actually build very strong tanks to hold the hydrogen so that there are no leaks, and he had to also create special provisions in his Zeppelin. So if he had access to helium, he could have actually produced very high-end airships, which would be very safe, and they could also take different kinds of cargo to its destination. But then Americans did not provide the helium. So therefore, this accident, the last airship that was flying, exploded. Many people died in this, and this is in the year 1936. After that, airships did not fly for almost like 70, 80 years. But now with the advanced technology, airships are being brought back. And as you can see, this is one example of the modern airship. And now there is no embargo on helium, etc. So you can actually keep the helium. You can actually even Germany has the technology to generate helium, and therefore these airships are now being redeployed, revived, and as a practical mode of transportation, they are being tried out, simply because they have so many advantages over aeroplanes. Aeroplanes are gas guzzlers. They actually pollute. They make a lot of noise. You need a very high-end type of technology in terms of engines, and you have to make them the aeroplanes are made of special material. So airships are much simpler design. If you want to carry more weight, you simply increase the buoyancy of the airship, and it can carry passengers, more number of passengers, it can carry more number of cargo, etc. So there are a lot of advantages when it comes to airship. Also with aeroplane, because aeroplanes fly faster, airships fly slow. So for so many years now, we have been flying at a relatively slower speed, because even if you produce a high speed aeroplane, it is not practical because it produces a lot of noise. There is more chance of accidents, and also whenever it passes through certain countries put a limit of on the sound pollution, and therefore most of these high speed planes are not allowed to fly. There are a lot of no-fly zones. At the same time, even if you basically fly faster, you will achieve incremental advantage, and whereas the cost of transportation will be very high. So there are a lot of issues with fast flying. So for last 50-60 years, if you fly the aeroplanes, then you would have noticed that we have not been able to fly faster. What we are doing in terms of innovation when it comes to aeroplane, we are actually building them bigger. So therefore airships can now fly relatively faster than what their predecessors were, and therefore these airships are now being revived because they are quite practical. You don't need a very big airport to launch them. You can actually provide a lot of comfort, and they can also carry a lot of cargo, and obviously they are faster than ships. They are definitely faster than ship, and they can if you build large enough airship, then you can actually carry a lot of cargo faster, much faster than waterway or anything like that. And you don't have to build a very big airport. You just need small facility for these airship to dock. And now these airships are also being fitted with fly-by-wire technology, a lot of avionics, and therefore they are much more efficient. And also now the scientists have also found that you don't need to fill in a lot of buoyant gases into airship. You can actually have a certain ratio, and then increase the pitch of the takeoff and landing by controlling these fins. So these fins are being added to the airship. As you can see in the tail section, there is a fin which will allow airship to change directions, etc., go up and down. So a lot of these advancements are happening when it comes to airship, and therefore airships can be much more practical, much more viable. They take less manpower, less complexities, low tech, so you don't need a lot of maintenance. And when it comes to manning the machinery, you need lesser staff. And since they fly slow, noiseless, they produce less pollution, they don't produce even noise pollution. So it may offer very comfortable ride to the passengers, just in case if the passengers are flying. And also when it comes to cargo, they can carry a lot of cargo faster, much faster than ships, slower than aeroplane, but then they can carry much more than aeroplane. So therefore airships are quite viable. And today is an important day, March 14th, when Ferdinand Zeppelin got his patent, US patent, signed as a navigation balloon. So friends, do let me know if you are excited to know about this trivia. And I like to know your comments on airships, whether they should be relaunched, or especially for the short distance travel or not. I like to know your opinion. So as always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you again in the next one.